Welcome back to Around Town with Linda. I'm Linda Malash. Today I'm talking with Nancy Graebner, who's the president and CEO of our very own Chelsea Community Hospital. Nancy, there's so much excitement that's been going around the hospital with the expansion. I wonder if you could kind of walk us through where we've come to at this point and what's still ahead for us.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, Linda. It is an exciting time for Chelsea Community Hospital. We have taken a journey really for 3.5 years now, working on a master facility plan that would take us from semi-private to private rooms for all of our patients. And of course, many plans later, many architects, many construction guys on site for many hours over the past 3 years, essentially. We'll get certificate of occupancy. The plan is in November, and we'll be starting to move in November. Wow. Yes, long journey.
Yes. So if somebody came to the hospital, what could they expect to see that's, oh, this is different, in addition to the rooms going from semi-private to private, which I might add, is that the direction that all hospitals are going in now?
Yes, Linda, I think private rooms are really the expectation of patients and families nowadays, and certainly all of our initiatives to reduce infection rates in hospitals. It's much easier to keep infection rates down. We don't have so many people in the same room and such, but our new addition is 135,000 square feet, 2 floors, 2 stories. The upper story is 54 inpatient beds. 6 will be intensive care unit beds. We already have 6 beds right now, so we'll be moving those. The 48 patient rooms for medical surgical patients, they're all private. They are bigger than our semi-private rooms are today. Nice. They all have a fold-out couch in them so that the family, if they decide they want to stay the night with their loved one and stay close, they'll be able to be right in the room and be comfortable.
I just read an article about that saying that the healing process is much more positive when people are obviously surrounded by loved ones and people that are allowed to spend the night like that it actually helps with people healing faster.
It sure does, and of course many of our patients are geriatric, they're senior members of our community, and just being in the hospital environment a lot of times causes a little bit of dementia. We're running different medications on them. They're not in their routine environment, and having a loved one and family member in the room with them really helps to reduce some of the confusion and such. So each of the rooms have a private bathroom that is very large. The tiling is like what you'd see on Home and Garden in a bathroom. It's absolutely gorgeous. And then the nurses station, the beds are kind of like in 12-room pods, if you will, with the nurses station attached to that 12-bed pod. And all of them have huge windows that overlook the courtyard, as well as the woods. So our deer are starting to come back. We have about 12 deer on campus that are no longer spooked from the construction. They're coming back, and so we'll be able to see all the wildlife here on the campus from all the rooms. On the first floor, we have a brand new expanded emergency room department. We have taken 12 rooms in our emergency room department. We're taking it up to 20. So that we can make sure that we're very efficient and, again, can turn patients quickly. And, of course, in an emergency room, you can get 7 ambulance runs and walk-ins all at the same time. So we're very excited about that. We'll have a lot more storage space, linen space, supply space, everything that our nurses and physicians need to perform well in that environment. We also will be moving all of our radiology services there on the first floor. And right now, Linda, we have like our nuclear medicine and our CT scanner in our hospital facility. Right. Our mammography and our MRI are over in our professional office building. Right. So it's a little bit of a disjointed department right now. And if we have an inpatient that needs an MRI, we have to bundle them up and get them transferred across the campus and back. So we're excited to have all of our diagnostics right there together next to the emergency room, contiguous to the operating room services, which will remain in our existing facility, but they will be contiguous. We also will have all of our physical therapy, occupational therapy, cardiopulmonary rehab services will be on the first floor of the new facility. And a new waiting room space, lobby. That's going to be our new front entrance of the hospital now. Will be on Will Johnson Drive. And you'll pull into a canopied area with the new construction. We'll have a Joe's Java, if anybody wants to have a cup of coffee, a sandwich, or salad, that sort of thing, and a new gift shop. And then some large community meeting rooms, so that we're hoping that, as we do now, a lot of people, different groups have meetings in our cafeteria. We'll have this new meeting room space that is just going to be lovely. Again, huge windows looking out at the courtyard, so just beautiful. So that's what we call our phase 1. of our master.
Oh, that's phase one?
That's phase one. That's a massive phase one.
Yes.
Phase two is where we turn our heads and then come back into our existing facility, start taking semi-private patient rooms, turning them into private rooms. We're going to expand our behavioral health services unit. Right now we have 24 beds and we're licensed for 30. So we're working on plans to take that to 30. The demand is there. And we are working with capacity management with University of Michigan and St. Joe's and Livingston to make sure that we serve our communities well for those particular services. And then you're probably familiar, we have an inpatient head pain unit that's led by Dr. Joel Saper. And so we're going to do some renovation and kind of facelifting of that unit. But we're trying very hard not to say new building, old building, because no one wants to be in the old building. So we're kind of going through like a wayfinding process right now for signage, and probably will designate different areas like the courtyard, just so that we're not saying things like old building, new building, because we are one hospital and we are all together with one team, to serve the community. So we want to make sure that we do that. Phase two will also involve an expansion of our surgical services department. We'll have larger space for pre-op services and recovery room, and then we're hoping to add our 7th OR at some point, so we'll be probably shelling that in. Just like patient rooms, the expectations today for surgical suites, you need bigger rooms because now we have all these robotics and these hybrid ORs with a lot of equipment. And so by the time you get our physician in there and the staff to support the physician and all the equipment, the rooms get small very fast. So we're looking at expanding some of those. So a very exciting time. And then phase three, believe it or not, phase three will be completed in the spring of 2014, and that will be our comprehensive cancer program, where we'll be adding radiation therapy along with our existing chemotherapy services and expanding medical oncology.
Wow.
So
this is such an exciting time to be at Chelsea Community Hospital. This hospital has always been, I think, just such a gem of our community. And now I'm so excited to see some of these new things. Is there going to be an open house, or do we have to wait until phase three is done before we get to see any of this, Nancy?
No, absolutely not. You'll start to see lots of communications in the community. December 9th is a Sunday from 12 to 5 p.m. We're going to have an open house. And we're hoping everyone from the community comes out to see us. It will be a self-guided tour, but there'll be many of us from the hospital here available to, answer questions and such. But we're hoping that people can just come over, spend some time with us, stroll through our new facility, as well as, if they want to come into our existing facility and check it out as well. But it's a time that we can see everyone and welcome them. And it is a community asset. It's a jewel for Chelsea. And all of our communities. Of course, we serve Dexter, Manchester, Stockbridge, and Grass Lake. Those are our 5 communities that we stay very close to.
Excellent. Now, you've been on this new job, this position, for how long now, Nancy?
It is, I think I've just completed about 7 months. I started January 30th, so I think that's 7 or 8 months, and it's just been a delight. It's been a delight. I interviewed for the first time in July of 2011, and then accepted the position in late November, so it's been quite a long journey.
Wow, all right. So what actually brought you here? So what did you do before, and what made you interested in perhaps coming over here?
Right, well, I'm originally from Michigan, so I really essentially have come back home. I did an MBA at University of Michigan, so I'm back home to the maize and blue and enjoying football. Good. Even though we lose once in a while. We still love them. But prior to this, I was in Greenville, South Carolina for 8 years, and my husband and I enjoyed it there, had a great career opportunity, and so spent the 8 years there, and then just decided it was probably time to get back to Michigan. We had some parents we were taking care of at that time, and it made sense to come back and be closer to them and help them with their care and such. So this opportunity, a couple people called and said, wow, this looks like a great opportunity, please check it out, and kind of the journey began.
All right. I imagine the interview process was quite intensive. So, how many interviews did you have to do? And we're a panel of 100 people all firing questions at you. Give us some insight. What is the process?
It was actually a really great interview because, of course, when you're a candidate, you're looking at the opportunity just as hard as they're looking at you to see if you're the right candidate. So, the first interview I can remember was on a Friday morning. I actually flew in really late Thursday night, came here for an hour and a half interview, jumped a plane, went back to work in Greenville, South Carolina. Carolina, so that was a pretty robust morning. But we certainly had, we have incredible board members that give us so much. They're so dedicated to this hospital. They spend an enormous amount of time sourcing candidates. I believe there were 7 of us that were going through it. So met with the board. After that, I had, I think, a brief meeting with some physicians. The second interview was interesting. I started at 7 in the morning and I finished around 8 at night. And just brief breaks, but it was wonderful. I again met board members. I met a lot of physicians. I met the administrative team, directors. I think I met some volunteers. I mean, it was in St. Joe's people, of course, the executive team there, my colleagues from the other hospitals. It was a very robust, rigorous process, and all it did was make me fall in love with the opportunity even more. So I was really thrilled when I had the call.
How exciting. And what kind of things do you do on a daily basis? So as president and CEO, what are your missions every day?
Well, the first year of this position is a little bit different. There's a lot of course orientation, meeting people, and certainly meeting the community, meeting all of our employees, our physicians, our volunteers, and then we're partnered with St. Joseph Mercy Health System. We're part of that region, so meeting all the folks there, getting acclimated to the meetings I need to attend, and then we're also part of Trinity Health as our home office, corporate office. So lots of orientation, but really my position, the real focus is growth. And I always work with the executive team here saying that, my job is to look at tomorrow and the next day, and everyone around me really needs to focus on today so that we really stay focused on today and tomorrow, and I think that really is the key. So
with all the changes that are going on and the expansion and all the new wonderful things, I imagine the workforce is affected in some way as well, Nancy. So how is that going to affect your workforce in terms of all these changes?
Oh, thanks for asking that. We have an incredible employee workforce here, and our saying is neighbors taking care of neighbors. Our nurses, our physicians, all of our technical staff, everyone does a fantastic job. We've made some changes that allowed us to be extremely strong. So our workforce is going to stay just as it is, and it's probably going to grow. Although we're still licensed for 113 beds, we don't expect to add tremendous amounts of staff, but certainly all of our employees that we have here today, should feel very secure and stable. We are bringing new physicians to our community, to our hospital, which means our volumes will be growing, and that just solidifies everybody's security here at Chelsea, which is key for me as the CEO. There's nothing more important to me than a stellar workforce that feels secure and remains committed to Chelsea.
That's good news for us, too, because I believe Chelsea Community Hospital and Jiffy Mix are the 2 biggest employers here in town, so that's good news.
Yes, it is. Yeah, we will make the changes we need to make to keep our employee workforce strong and stable.
So you had mentioned that you are originally from Michigan. What part of Michigan did you grow up in?
Yes, Saginaw Township, Midland area is where my husband and I both grew up. And we spent summers up at Point Lookout, and I don't know if you know where Point Lookout is. It's where Saginaw Bay and Lake Huron come together at a point between Augrey and Tawa. So we spent our summers there. We met as kids, and Jay's my first love. And we took forever to get married. He was 40 and I was 36. So we dated, I think, like 25 years or something. It was crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, we're both from the same area. And I have a sister-in-law, brother-in-law, and a nephew up in that area as well today, and 2 nieces in Florida.
Oh, my goodness. All right. How has your husband adjusted to this position? I imagine that there are a lot of hours that you spend here that you don't spend as much at home anymore. Is he adjusting okay to all that?
Yeah, Jay's pretty resilient. I probably have been working tremendous amounts of hours for many years, so he's really quite used to that. He really does everything for us, and I'm pretty spoiled. Okay. So when I do get home, often late at night and sometimes even on the weekends, getting home from the hospital, he has everything lined up for us.
That's great. Now, is he working as well?
He is retired. Okay. Yes, he's retired now. Okay. So he says his main duty is golf. Okay. And he loves it. Good. So he's enjoying pure Michigan golf. Excellent. Much cooler than South Carolina, where it's so hot.
Oh, I never thought about it that way. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes, and I'm learning golf.
I was going to ask you, so tell me about that.
It is a very, very hard sport to learn as an older woman. It is very difficult. There is a lot of science to it. There's a lot of art to it, and you just need to go with it and enjoy it. So I really love it, but I just wish I had more time to practice. So I'm entertaining.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's nice that you serve other people that way as well. So what else do you like to do when you do have just a modicum of spare time, Nancy?
I love to walk, just to go for walks and play some favorite music while I'm walking. I love to, I'm enjoying getting out in the yard and doing some yard work at our house here. It's cooler in the yard to do that. I love to read. I love to go to concerts. We have a lot of events that we participate in and attend, and we actually enjoy all of them. They have full range from, auction sales, yard sales that we attend on behalf of the hospital when they're fundraising, and then we go all the way to the, orchestra and galas and golf outings and everything in between.
Okay. I've always been impressed with that fundraiser that, I think Judy Stratman is one of the ones who puts it together. First of all, the support that you get for that, and also the fun. It looks like you look at the pictures in the paper, you see everybody all dressed up in costumes, and what was it? A couple people dressed up as Kiss last year. What's the story there, Nancy?
That was wonderful, and actually, Jay and I were so new at that point. We couldn't even tell who people were. They were dressed so well. Their costumes were incredible. But we did, I think, had 6 folks dressed up as Kiss band members, and they were just stellar. And Dr. Jonna Gill, who's one of our physicians here on campus, just an awesome Kiss member of the band. Good. And Dr. Ports, I think, was dressed as Kiss, and Dr. Handelsman. So we had several poets. Johnny Mitchell.
Yes, I was going to say Mitchell. I know Mitchell, that's right.
Yeah, so you just second to none.
Yeah. Very cool.
Second to none.
And then in addition to all the fun, you raise an exorbitant amount of money for I think it's impressive. How are you able to pull that off with all the competing things that people have to invest in and be willing to give of their funds? And you guys do such a good job with that.
Yeah, I certainly, I'm still stunned by it, and I'm just amazed. I've been in healthcare my whole life, and I have never seen a hospital as loved by the community as Chelsea Community Hospital is. It's definitely a jewel. I think, the community has been so involved in the development of this hospital from day one, 40-some years ago, and it's just wonderful to have it in the community. And I think, when I first interviewed, I remember someone saying to me, Nancy, this community doesn't need a hospital, but they want a hospital. Oh. Mm-hmm. And so they're very involved. We have 3 huge fundraisers each year. We have the auction that you're referencing, we have our golf outing, and then our holiday gala, which will be coming up in December. Okay. And it'll be my first gala, I'm excited for that. But incredible community support, and we're very grateful for that. And the other way our community supports us is our volunteer force. We have over 200 volunteers that, Linda, if you added up the hours they work each year, it's about 12 full-time employees that they are helping us out, and we couldn't do everything we do without them. So it's not always the gift of money for Chelsea Hospital. A lot of times it's the gift from the heart, the gift of time.
Sure. If there was somebody out there who says, I'd like to look into how I could perhaps be a volunteer at the hospital, is there a place that they would go to or someone they would contact to find out more about that?
Absolutely. Russ Ballou is our Director of Volunteer Services. Certainly can stop in. You can call our main line, and if someone wants to get on the website, you can certainly do that as well. But we always have more opportunities. And, of course, with another 135,000 square feet on this campus, we can certainly use more help.
Wonderful. Is there anything that we in the community can do to help support the hospital more? Anything that you could suggest?
Well, I just recently talked to our volunteers, and I said, they really are ambassadors. All of our employees and physicians, all of us are ambassadors for this hospital. I think the key is to truly take time to understand all of the comprehensive services we do offer here. And I like to say, please don't drive by us. If you need some health care, please come here. Please let us serve you first in the community. Now, we're not going to offer all the services. We're not St. Joe's or University of Michigan, but we do offer a lot to the community. So we always say, please check us out, seek to understand, don't drive by, and give us an opportunity.
See, I thought we did offer all services. What could possibly somebody want that we wouldn't offer? I don't even know. Like what? What don't we offer?
Right. We currently don't have extensive cardiovascular services. So for someone that needs a cardiac cath or would need open heart surgery, significant vascular surgery, we wouldn't be performing. And of course, we don't have OB. We don't deliver babies here. So we would have them go to St. Joe's or University.
Having not the need of delivering babies for quite a long time now, we don't deliver babies here, do we?
No, we do a lot of GYN surgery for women, and of course urological surgery for both men and women, but not OB.
That never even occurred to me. Is that something that's perhaps scheduled for the future or no?
Probably not. That would be a real game changer for us. And, I think that what we do right now really well is orthopedics, GYN surgery, urology. general surgery. We do some plastics and ENT and eye surgery. We do all those really well. And of course, we have our medicine programs. We have University of Michigan Family Medicine program here with residents and medical students every day. Right. Very critical part for our success. So we like to say we're the cornerstone for University of Michigan and St. Joe's because both are on our campus every day.
Isn't that cool? That's amazing.
It is.
Could we talk a little bit more about health reform that you were talking about and how that applies directly to where you're at right now and where the hospital is going to?
Yes, thanks, Linda, for asking that. Health reform is front and center on my radar screen every single day. And there's a lot of different aspects to it. The way we receive our revenues and are reimbursed for the services we provide is dramatically changing. And unfortunately, dramatically changing for not the best. I mean, some of our revenue streams are really going to change and go down in the future, particularly Medicare, which of course is our largest and fastest growing population. So we're trying very hard to reorganize ourselves to really focus on the services we can do well that fit in with health reform. And our overhead expenses, of course, are always front and center in terms of that. So we're doing a lot of rigorous review of our programs and services, making sure that we can thrive under health reform, be strong and stable, and truly remain a community hospital here for everyone to enjoy. So, we've had to make some tough decisions. I'm sure there'll be some ahead of us. But again, if we're really doing the due diligence and performing the way we need to in the future, we have to do some preparation today.
Okay, all right. And any specific changes?
I'm sure that you noticed in the paper that we had to make some really tough decisions in regards to our child care programs, and a lot of that due diligence was done long before I arrived, so it certainly isn't something that I started. It's something that I picked up and tried to take toward a journey of completion. Very tough decisions, and long ago employer-sponsored daycare centers really was a benefit for the employee workforce. It was something that helped you recruit and retain nurses and a very key strategy. What we started to see here, which is what a lot of hospitals are seeing with their nurses, are the average age of the nursing workforce is about 48 now. We're all getting older together. And when we started to review the program, one of the first things we noticed, we had about 30 employees out of 1,100 that were utilizing our child care program. So it really became evident. It certainly was something we were providing to the community. We would have had to really raise the prices to the point where we didn't feel like we would be market competitive in order to keep that program going. We tried very hard to partner, and we were successful on the before and after school program. As you know, Gretchen has, I think, over about 140 of our children, and she is now running a very successful program with the school system, and we're just thrilled about that. We unfortunately weren't able to do that with our daycare program for our infant and toddler program. And but we're confident there's other resources in the community that we felt were first class, and we know that our children, actually today is our last day, so our children are definitely all placed now. So, heavy hearts, but again, trying to make sure that we stay focused on acute care operations and do the best we can in that regard.
Thank you. I imagine that there are a lot of people in your life who have been an inspiration to you. Can you tell us about one of them? So who's somebody in your life that has really been there for you or has been an inspiration or a mentor for you?
I have had so many wonderful mentors. I've been extremely blessed. And probably the first one that I always, that really pivoted me toward healthcare, I was a high school co-op in 10th grade and wanted to get out into the workforce and try my wings a little bit. And I was able to be a co-op in our local hospital in the medical record department. And the medical director, the director of that department was this incredible woman who was so polished and professional and smart. I mean, the minute I met her, I just said, I want to be you. And she just kind of adopted me, and I ended up going and get my first degree was in medical record science, so I could be a director just like her. Mm-hmm. And then after that, I went on to get a business and an MBA degree. But my first position when I became a director of a medical record department like June was just a very pivotal point in my career. So, and since then, I've had just incredible CEOs that I've worked for, board of directors, very inspirational. So I've been in healthcare since 16.
All right. And what were you like as a young child? So what were you like as a kid growing up, Nancy?
I was a bookworm. Mm-hmm. I was just loved books. I loved school, very academic, very probably an overachiever in that regard. But I also like sports. I like to get out and play baseball and volleyball, and I'm old enough that probably we didn't have all the sports young girls have today. Unfortunately, it was either volleyball or baseball pretty much, and swimming. So I enjoyed those sports. But I have to say probably my biggest tendency was just really loved learning and books.
Wonderful. And are you from a big family? Do you have many siblings?
No, I don't. I really just have my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, which is Jay's sister, and then their 3 children.
And what were your mom and dad like? What kinds of things did they, or I should say, did your mom and dad both work or no?
My mom went to work when I went to 7th grade, so she was a stay-at-home mom while I was younger. And then my dad was kind of he was in the auto industry and quality control, very much a workaholic. So everyone says I look like him, I walk like him, and I work the hours my dad did. So I was kind of a daddy's girl. And but great parents, and it put a lot of joy and fun into my life growing up.
Excellent. I think that to a certain extent we are the people we are today due to some of the challenges that we faced along the way in life too. Are there any challenges that you were able to face and conquer in your life?
Other than waiting 25 years for Jay to ask me to marry him?
Oh, it was Jay's fault. Okay.
It was Jay's fault, that's right. He wasn't ready. I have to say, I have just had a great life. I mean, we've lost all our parents now, so I mean, we went through that chapter of life, and certainly have had the loss of loved ones. But I have to say, I don't really see challenges in my life. They were opportunities, and I've enjoyed all of it. I would do it all again.
All right. Mm-hmm. Well, it's been so fun sitting here talking with you. I can't wait to hear and to see what's ahead for us, and looking forward to that open house in December. And I'm just so grateful that you're here in our community, Nancy, and I'll hopefully see you around town.
Thank you, Linda. I hope to see you here at the hospital, but not when you're sick.
That's right.
Please come have a sandwich and Joe's Java. Come visit us. Thank you.